Welcome to your channel that teaches you corporate English every day. Financial apps are about to undergo their biggest transformation in a decade. And it's not just about fancy new features. It's about completely reimagining how sophisticated investors interact with their money.
You know what fascinates me about this shift? We're seeing experienced investors essentially saying their current tools are like trying to perform surgery with Stone Age instruments.
Let me paint a clearer picture of why this matters so much. These aren't casual investors checking their 401ks once a month. We're talking about professionals who need complex data analysis at their fingertips, multiple fund comparisons, and sophisticated risk metrics, all in real time.
That really puts things in perspective. How are these current apps falling short of meeting those advanced needs?
Well, here's where it gets interesting. The research shows that many of these apps actually have powerful features buried within them, but they're hidden behind confusing menu structures and outdated interfaces. It's like having a Ferrari engine inside a horse-drawn carriage.
Now that's quite a vivid comparison. So what exactly are these investors looking for in terms of specific functionality?
Let me break it down. They need immediate access to performance versus benchmark data, volatility measurements, drawdown analysis, and detailed risk assessments. But here's the kicker. They need all of this information visible within seconds of opening the app.
That level of immediate access to complex data seems like quite a technical challenge to implement while keeping things user-friendly.
You know what's fascinating about the proposed solution? They're developing what they call a quick clarity screen. Imagine opening the app and immediately seeing portfolio plus 2.3%, fourth benchmark plus 0.9%, volatility 5.1% right there on your home screen. No clicking required.
The way you describe that reminds me of how Bloomberg terminals revolutionized trading floors. Instant access to critical data changed everything.
Exactly right. And here's where it gets even more interesting. They're not just focusing on single portfolio views. They're building in sophisticated comparison tools that let investors analyze multiple funds side by side, complete with benchmark overlays and risk metrics.
That kind of functionality sounds like it could really transform how people manage their investments. What about the historical context of this evolution?
Well, think about how far we've come. Just 10 years ago, having any kind of investment app was considered cutting edge. Now we're talking about tools that need to rival professional trading platforms in terms of sophistication and depth.
The speed of that evolution is remarkable. How are developers handling these increasing expectations?
Here's what makes their approach unique. They're creating what I'd call information layers. You get that instant clarity on the surface, but you can drill down through increasingly detailed levels of analysis, almost like peeling an onion of financial data.
That layered approach seems like it could solve the complexity versus accessibility challenge we often see in financial technology.
And here's another fascinating aspect. They're incorporating what they call smart defaults. The app learns from user behavior to predict which metrics and comparisons are most relevant for each investor's specific needs.
The implications of that kind of personalization could be huge for the industry as a whole.
Let me share something even more surprising. Early testing shows that users spend 40% less time searching for information, but end up accessing 60% more data points. It's counterintuitive, But better organization actually leads to deeper engagement.
Those numbers really drive home how significant this redesign could be for the investment community.
Financial apps used to be about checking balances, but here's something wild. Wealthy investors are now spending an average of 47 minutes per day obsessing over app design details that make them feel like their millions are in good hands.
That's fascinating. And what's really striking is how these expectations have completely transformed what a premium digital experience means. We're way beyond just showing account totals.
Looking at recent feedback from high net worth users, they're demanding sophisticated features like real-time risk scoring and instant redemption windows. But, and here's the key, they want it all presented with the elegance of a luxury car dashboard.
Hmm. That car comparison is really interesting. It's like how Mercedes puts all the vital information right where you need it, but makes it feel effortless and refined.
Exactly. And what's particularly fascinating is how they're suggesting layouts like risk, moderate, redemption, D+7, manager notes, tap to read, essentially creating a financial cockpit that feels both powerful and sophisticated.
You know what really jumps out at me? The speed issue. These users are managing serious money, and every second of delay must feel like watching dollars evaporate.
Well, the data shows morning access is particularly problematic. We're talking about a user base that needs to make million-dollar decisions before their morning coffee, and they're experiencing delays that can stretch up to 45 seconds during peak market hours.
That's wild when you think about it. In an era where we expect instant everything, how are these premium apps still struggling with basic performance?
And here's where it gets really interesting. The authentication process is causing just as much friction. These users are dealing with up to 7 security steps just to check their portfolio, which is about 3 steps more than the industry standard.
So, if we're thinking about the psychology here, it seems like these users want bank vault security but with Ferrari quick access. How do you balance that?
Well, the research suggests biometric authentication could reduce login time by 82% while maintaining the same security level. But what's fascinating is how this ties into the broader user experience. These investors are spending an average of $50 million through these apps annually.
That level of transaction volume really puts the notification issue into perspective. These aren't casual investors getting pinged about $5 stock movements.
Right, and get this, the average high net worth user receives about 47 notifications daily, but only finds 12% of them actually relevant to their investment strategy. It's information overload at a premium level.
The visual design element is particularly intriguing. How do you communicate premium through pixels and typography?
Studies show that darker color schemes are perceived as 73% more professional in financial applications. They're moving toward what designers call institutional elegance. Think the digital equivalent of a private banking office's mahogany panels and leather chairs.
That attention to detail must extend to how they're handling market insights and analysis too, right?
Absolutely fascinating point. They're finding that users spend 3.2 times longer engaging with weekly curated insights compared to daily market updates. It's quality over quantity, but presented with what they're calling sophisticated restraint.
Let me guess. The same principle applies to document management because nothing says amateur hour like hunting for important statements.
The data here is telling. Users are spending an average of 12 minutes searching for documents in current apps. The new approach with sophisticated filtering could reduce that to under 30 seconds while maintaining what they call the premium information architecture.
Looking at the broader implications, this really seems to signal a fundamental shift in how we think about digital wealth management.
You know what's really interesting? Internal studies show that 92% of high net worth individuals now consider the digital experience equally important to personal banker relationships. That's a complete reversal from just 5 years ago.
The psychological aspect of all this is fascinating. Every design choice seems to be about reinforcing confidence in wealth management.
And here's the kicker. User trust increases by 64% when apps maintain consistent premium design elements across all features. It's not just about looking good, it's about maintaining that feeling of sophisticated control throughout the entire experience.
That really brings us full circle to your opening point about the psychology of these apps. It's about creating an experience that matches the weight of the wealth being managed.
Looking ahead, we're likely to see this approach influence broader financial app design. When you're setting the standard for managing millions, it inevitably raises expectations across the entire industry. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the psychology of premium financial technology.